Welcome to Apex Philosophy. You will find your motivation here. Be sure to subscribe and listen every day, because you are what you watch. Please like and share the video to help inspire others. Separate your mind from your body. How do you know if you're living in the past? Is it your memories? Is it your emotions? Or is your brain just playing tricks on you? Dr. Joe Dispenza argues that it's all of those things. It is a combination of factors that keeps you living in and stuck in the past. Most people wake up every day and start thinking about their problems. Little do they know that these problems are circuits, a unique system that is attached to the memories in their brain. Mothers wake up and think about what breakfast they're going to make and what the kids will have for lunch in school. Fathers would strategically organise how they're going to find work and pay the bills for the family. Since the brain is an organ that functions to record what happened in the past. And the way people start their day is by thinking about their problems. And to look for answers, they relive memories from the past. Then they are living from the past the moment they wake up. Problems and emotions. To put it into perspective, each of the memories is tied to a certain emotion. If you're trying to keep a job, for example, you might be anxious about losing it. Similarly, when you send your kids to school, you may fear for their safety. After all, anything could happen, right? We often choose to ignore the fact that by thinking about the past, we bring up all of those old emotions. Are we right to be fearful of everyday life? Yes and no. Emotions are a byproduct of the past. Your experiences tell you what is to be feared or not. An accident in school could change your opinion about child safety, while those who didn't have a similar experience wouldn't care. They would think that school is just another daycare. Both feelings in the same situation are, of course, valid. Nonetheless, it is our experience that changes our outlook on life. But when we recall problems, we often become unhappy. Something as simple as thinking about making breakfast can ruin someone's day. It may even be just a minor inconvenience, like stubbing your toe on the edge of the table, or that annoying old hinge that is making the door creak. The emotions attached to these problems create your whole state of being. And if you wake up that way, then you are starting your day off in a negative state. The familiar past will sooner or later be a predictable future. Dr. Joe Dispenza. If thoughts have something to do with fate or destiny, and you are stuck in recurring thoughts, then you're probably bound to keep repeating the same things over and over again. If you can't think of something greater than how you feel right now, then you are stuck living in the past. Dr. Dispenza connects this through the very definition of emotion, because, again, emotions are attached to problems from the past. For most of your life, you're going to keep creating the same patterns. You'll be stuck and you'll find ways to cope. You might be scrolling mindlessly through your phone. You might be venturing from one TikTok video to another. It's unfortunate, but every minute spent coping this way is just wasted time being stuck. You see, these things may provide short-term emotional relief, but there is little to no progress towards actual solutions. The subconscious program. People go through a series of routines. They wake up, eat breakfast, go to work, come home, go to sleep, and repeat. Every day is done in the same way, filled with mostly the same people and pushing all the same emotional buttons. Life becomes a routine, and we are reduced to autopilots. By doing the same thing every day, we turn our lives into a program, but we also lose ourselves to that programming. Dr. Joe Dispenza sees this as the main culprit, because when it's time for a change, the redundancy of the same cycle becomes a subconscious program. By 40 years old, we'll be formed into a memorised set of behaviours. This is what comprises 95% of us most of the time. These emotional reactions are memorised. These attitudes and beliefs are memorised. Even our subconscious habits seem to be memorised. But where is the other 5% in all of this? It's the part of you saying what you truly want in life. It's the 5% that tries to push you back into exercising or eating healthily. It's the 5% that wants to spend time with their friends and family again. It's the 5% that wants you to be free. It's the 5% that has ambitions for greatness. However, the body is stuck in this subconscious program. So, how do we reconcile this? We have to go beyond the analytical mind, past what separates the conscious from the subconscious. This is where meditation comes in. We need meditation because it teaches us how to change our subconscious program. It allows us to change the brainwaves and slow them down. When done properly, people can get into the operating system and make the changes that they want. The waiting trap. However, it's not that easy for the majority of the population. If it was, we would all be engaged in meditation, and anthropological development would be on a different level. What most people do is wait. They wait for a crisis to happen. Some won't admit it, but they're waiting for a trauma. They're waiting for a tragedy to wake them up from their programming. You can learn and change in a state of pain and suffering, or you can learn and change in a state of joy and inspiration. Dr. Joe Dispenza. Most people spend 70% of their life in survival mode. The stress within this type of environment is killing them. Each part of their day is tainted by anticipating the worst. This is based on past experiences. However, they can't see that out of the infinite potential outcomes, all they cling on to is the worst possible scenario. And when they do this, they automatically start emotionally embracing it with fear. This also starts to condition their body into that same state of fear. If you look at it from an outsider's perspective, it's like the person is attacking themselves. Inevitably, the body does attack itself through a panic attack. Your body also slows digestion and lowers your immune system to prepare to fight or flee from this fearful outcome. What's even worse is that if you live in this state long enough, it becomes written in that subconscious program, and your body will start to react unpredictably without your input. As this continues, most people become addicted to emotions. The rushing feelings of sadness and disappointment are reaffirmed through limitations. For example, you don't believe that you'll ever be a successful entrepreneur, and so you never take that leap of starting a business. You never feel confident enough, so you never make that pitch to your boss. Whatever the circumstance, you always precede it with fear and negativity, and the greatness stops before it can even start. So, why are you this way? Every time people wait for something to change their life, it often stems from the comfort of being able to predict what will happen, and all problems and emotions get reaffirmed when the same negative cycle appears. At the very least, this bad thing is something that is predictable. And when something is predictable, it often equates to the feeling of safety. That's why people get so addicted to the same feeling of sadness or loneliness. It's all they've ever known, and for them, it's all they will know. However, what most do not see is that a prediction can also create motivation and determination. Are you the master or the servant? So, what happens is people reaffirm their limitations, and through time, these become part of your subconscious program. Why is this important? Because you store this subconscious program in your body. So, for example, if you sit down and imagine some future worst case scenario, you'll begin to feel emotions around that imaginary event. The more time you spend on this mental creation, and the more detailed you get, the stronger the emotions will become. See, your body doesn't know the difference between a real event or an imaginary one. This is really powerful. By thought alone, people are continually reinforcing their emotional state. So, when it comes to giving up a negative emotional state, they think they can do it, and they really want to, but the body is more set in its ways. You could say it is stubborn. So, what ends up happening is that the body resists the mind, and the mind becomes a slave to the body and its subconscious program. So now the servant has become the master. Dr. Joe Dispenza. Create your future. When we create our future, we are pulling it out from the unknown. Some people do not see it this way, and that is why they are reduced to their limitations. If the future didn't come from something uncertain, then life would be boring. It would even become meaningless. How would you enjoy something that you already know? Something that you keep repeating over and over again? What's worse is that people not only repeat actions, but they repeat the same negative actions. You can't be afraid to step out of the familiar into the unknown to create your future. The best way to predict your future is to create it. Dr. Joe Dispenza. The power of meditation. We mentioned earlier how repetition can wire a negative pattern into our subconscious. But repetition isn't all bad if we use it correctly. What if you repeated the actions that you truly wanted to keep in your life? For example, repeating meditation every day can do wonders. The act of closing your eyes brings in more miracles than you can imagine. You are turning into something greater than your current state. You can meditate with the intention of the day or for the week. You can even meditate just to clear your mind. More often than not, people reject the idea of meditation simply because they are programmed to do so. Again, they will perceive it with negativity and think that it doesn't work. But trust me, it does. Additionally, some people often try it out the wrong way. You can't just start a 10-minute meditation without practicing your concentration for a short span of time. Start with a 1-minute meditation and work your way up to 10 or 20 minutes. Meditation is more than just breathing in and breathing out. During your meditation, practice guiding your thoughts. At first, just try clearing your mind and focusing on your breathing. It's the art of clearing your mind, not impatience. Practice makes perfect. So the more you practice meditation, the easier it will come to you. The word meditation means to become familiar with. Dr. Joe Dispenza. So, during your meditation process, become familiar with yourself, your thoughts, and your behaviours and your emotions. Ponder them and ask where they came from. Then later, you could practice directing your thoughts towards memories that could move your emotional state where you want it. By doing this, you are self-medicating. You are healing. You can also practice new habits and routines by imagining yourself doing them in the future. You are slowly installing a neurological program within your brain. This new program assists you by making it look like the event has already occurred. Within this unique experience, the brain does not know the difference between real and imaginary. So the conscious is finally connected to the subconscious. And the magic really happens when we blur out the line between imagination and experiences in the real world. So you begin to rewire your brain. You begin to reprogram your subconscious. That's how miracles start to happen. For example, you are thinking about high grades for your upcoming exams instead of thinking that you'll fail. You could also manifest a successful project pitch to your company. Staying present. When people tell you that they ascend into a higher state, it often translates to truly being in the present. Through meditation, you can also learn to stay present and keep your mind from entering into old sub-routines. I mean, you are in the present, but now your mind and body are too. You are learning how to notice where your thoughts are and redirect them back to now. You can master overlooking this giant wall of problems. You can know deep down that they are part of the past. They will and should remain in the past. The brain is now rid of the records of the past. It turns this into an engraved map of the future. You know what you want. You are focused on what you want. And if one repeats this over and over again, then who can stop them? Teaching our bodies. Going back to the topic, there is one last thing that we must note. With all the lessons of the conscious and the subconscious, Dr. Dispenza believes that the hardest part is teaching our bodies what the future feels like. How can we do that without actually being in the future? We are not time travelers. We don't know what will happen tomorrow or in the next hour. How can we do that with all the uncertainty? The answer is to permit yourself to feel it. You don't have to delay the feeling of abundance while you wait for the money to come into your life. Similarly, you don't have to wait for your friends to tell you how much you mean to them to feel loved. You don't have to wait until your healing is done to feel whole. Instead, you can meditate and feel those things now. And the more you live in an imagined future and a positive state, the more you wire your body for success, and the more you just know. You just know that it is coming. Whatever you want is coming into your life. By sitting in a meditation, you are telling your body it's no longer in control and that your mind is. And you are your mind, and after some practice, your will be stronger than any subconscious program you have stored in your body. Just like training a pet, The more you can recognise when the body is trying to execute a routine and you pull it out of the past and back into the present, the more it will respond. When your body fully surrenders, you move from matter to energy. You free yourself from the chains of your past emotions. It's just like planting a garden. First, you have to remove the weeds, old plants, and debris. Those are like old patterns and emotional blocks. Then you plant the vegetables you want in your garden. Those are the habits you want to keep. And then you water it through meditation. Stop waiting for something external to change what you feel inside. Stop reacting to the world around you. You have no control over the outside world, and you could be waiting a long time for the right thing to come along to make you feel the way you want. That's like waiting for the right seed to randomly fall into your garden. So instead, start creating your own reality. You only have control of your mind, your inner reality. The more you can put yourself in a hopeful, joyful state, the easier it will be to move forward towards something that will bring you more joy and happiness. The more you can imagine yourself as successful, the braver you'll become to tackle the unknown and take the risks necessary to become successful. The only being that is stopping you from achieving all the best things in life is actually you. And once you truly realise that, everything is going to change. So remember, don't be your own obstacle. Start practicing. Start meditating. Experience the future before it arrives, because deep down, you know it will come. And if you get a little bit lost, you can always find your way back to the now. The process doesn't have to be perfect. And never forget that this is a process and not a destination. Let's practice a meditation. Sit down and close your mind off from everything around you and focus on this video. We are going to cut off your mind from the world. The less sensory input, the less likely you are to trigger an old routine. Start by closing your eyes. Now, try focusing your ears to the sound of this video. You could also listen to some calming music or background noise, something that won't trigger a mental program. The nice thing here is that we are starting to write a new mental program. So doing this in a consistent place and time, with the same music each time, will all help to achieve the meditation routine. You'll probably start hearing your body, or subconscious, complain. This is dumb. This is weird. This isn't going to do anything. Just recognise the thoughts and refocus on the video. You may even thank them for their opinion, but remember, you are not your thoughts. You are the think observing your thoughts. Now think of something soft. Maybe it is your pillow or your favourite blanket. Imagine what it feels like. Remember its texture. Did you smile? Notice how you feel emotionally. What are you feeling? Is it pleasant? Now, come back. open your eyes, look around. How do you feel? That was a very simple meditation. Now you know how to bring back the emotions behind the soft thing you imagined. In the future, you can use meditations like this to recenter yourself, purge negative emotions, fill yourself with positive emotions, empower yourself to take on difficult tasks. The options are limitless. Thank you for listening. Comment below. How could meditation benefit your life? How do you start your day? Do you start your day with positive emotions or negative emotions? Do you start by thinking about your problems? Or do you start by meditating on your success? Don't forget to like the video and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.